Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Strongpoint's Fundamentals webinar series. As I said a few minutes ago, for those of you who weren't there then, today we're going to be reviewing our orientation presentation, and we're going to be covering off the concepts of documentation and impact analysis. My name is Andrea Sorensen, and I'm the head of marketing here at Strongpoint. Thanks so much for making time out of your undoubtedly busy day today. We're really excited that you could make it. Now, we're going to be very, very mindful of your time. We expect to take between a half hour to 45 minutes for the presentation, including some time for questions. Now, I would really like to take the opportunity to introduce you to two of Strongpoint's very stellar and very awesome customer success consultants. Valerie Callahan is going to be driving the presentation, and Ramona Henningham is here also as support to answer any questions and help out with the presentation. So you're in great hands today as we walk through this. So over to you, Valerie.
Hi, everybody. I would like to go over the following with all of you. Again, please feel free to pop in your questions to the chat if anything does come up, and we will definitely pause and answer any questions you may have. So a little bit about what we're going to review today. We're going to go over a quick view of the Strongpoint license. We're also going to talk about how the documentation works using the AutoSpider Portlet. We'll also go into the Strongpoint ERD and the Strongpoint Customization Impact Search Form. Then we'll take some time to go through the details of the Strongpoint Customization Record, and we'll finish off with our Strongpoint SQL library. All right, so the first thing I'd like to show you is the Strongpoint license feature. This is where you would be adding or removing users who will be using Strongpoint. So I will jump over into one of our demo accounts to show you where this can be found. All right, so Strongpoint licensing is found under the Strongpoint menu and Strongpoint support, and over to the license manager. When you click view on this line, you'll be brought to a screen where you can find all your Strongpoint licensing information, your license number, the modules included, the full license end date, and your full license count. Down below in the Strongpoint license user view, this is where you have the ability to add a new license user and or remove an existing one if they no longer require access to Strongpoint. So just a quick overview on that to make sure you guys have everybody in your organization with the right access. The next thing I wanted to look at with you guys is the Strongpoint AutoSpider Portlet. So when we talk about the Strongpoint AutoSpider Portlet, this is something that we use to keep the Strongpoint customization documentation of your NetSuite account up to date. So when the initial implementation happens with Strongpoint, we do kick off what we call the manual spider, and that creates, it indexes all the custom objects in your account and then creates associated customization records. The AutoSpider Portlet is what we use to keep that account up to date. So once you log into your account, it's a portlet set up on your dashboard, and you'll see the word spider triggered, and that's all you have to do. Behind the scenes, the scheduled scripts run and reflect the changes made to your account going forward on the Strongpoint customization record. So again, I'll jump over to that and show you guys what that looks like. So again, it's a simple custom portlet that we add to your dashboard. And once you've logged in as an administrator and you've seen the word spider triggered, you're good to go. Those scripts are running, the magic's happening, and keeping your account up to date. The next thing we're going to look at is our impact search forms. So there are two versions of this. We have the ERD and the custom impact search form. So what this does, it makes sure that everybody in your organization is an expert with the ability to rapidly identify the dependencies between your objects. So visually, the ERD, the entity relationship diagram, or through the customization impact search form, which is a baseline search view, again, of those same interdependencies. We make sure that everybody in your company can make more confident decisions and minimize risks. We all know what happens if somebody in the account makes a change to a custom object without reviewing those impacts, then you have to scramble and undo all of that work. So these saved searches include the customizations with their basic details and shows the relationships. Again, the ERD, this is our graphical view of those relationships. This is a very visual way to see those dependencies between your customizations. And then there's a customization record itself. So again, those manual spiders run when we first implement Strongpoint into your account, index all your custom objects, and create associated customization records. We never touch your custom objects themselves and always create a separate record to keep track of the changes happening. These are built by the Strongpoint spiders. So again, that initial run and the auto spider portlet. And the documentation is including the details of of everything on your customization, who's using it, when it was last used, and what the joins are between the other customizations, so those interdependencies. And last but not least, we make sure that all these Strongpoint customization records are fully searchable for you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in, and I will walk you guys through the ERD. We'll then go into the customization impact search form, and then I'll take you through the customization record itself and cover some of the information on that record. So again, the first thing I'm going to go to navigate to is the ERD itself. So I can find that under Strongpoint, Tools, and Strongpoint ERD. And once I'm on the screen, I can choose what type of record I would like to see. In this case, since it's a good example to show you guys, I am going to use our vendor payment standard record. I can navigate down and find that. Clearly on this payment standard record, I do not have a lot of customization fields applied to it, but you could see how extensive this list might be if you have a lot of customizations on the record type. So to give you guys a good example visually of what this looks like, I'm going to pick this field. And what I'm able to see here quickly at a bird's eye view is that a list is using this custom body field. I also have 2 scripts that are using it, some searches, and a whole lot of forms. So I can clearly see that if I were to delete this field or modify it, I could potentially break all of these things. So also to give you guys an idea of how easy it is to navigate between the information Strongpoint provides you, I can also, if I wanted to see the script, let's say, I could click here, and directly from the ERD, I'm able to open up the record, the customization record. Again, I'll walk you guys through this in a couple more minutes in a lot more detail, but wanted to show you how easy it is to find that information in your account. So if I go down on the customization record and click on the scripting subtab, what I'm able to see on this script are comments, anything in the script that's prefixed by a 1-line or multi-line comment. If I scroll down after all these comments, I'm also able to see the functions that are being used within the script. I have a link to the script file and the library script file. On the right, I can easily see the fields referenced in the script, as well as the API calls. So just to give you guys an idea of what's at your fingertips in a quick couple of clicks. So now if I just hover back over to the left, I'm back on my ERD. That is the ERD. What I'm also going to do now is navigate to the impact search form. So what this is, I'm going to copy the script ID since this was such a great example. I'm going to navigate to the impact search form, which is the baseline search view of this same ERD. So providing me all the same information. So under Strongpoint customizations and customization impact search form, I'm now brought to a screen where I can either paste in the script ID that I've just copied. I also have choices to do a search by object type or by owner. For this demo, I'm going to put in that same script ID, and I'm going to hit submit. And the screen I'm brought to is that same baseline search. So the same information we saw in the ERD is available here. I have the parent records. Again, those forms, that list that we saw in the ERD, those two scripts that are utilizing the field, as well as the searches. Why this functionality is very useful, if you were to expand these filters, again, we've run this for one script ID. If you have developers who are doing work in your NetSuite account who do not have access to the Strongpoint tools, the benefit of this is that it's exportable. So meaning you can send that into Excel, format those columns to make them as useful as possible, and send this on to anybody who might be doing work in your account to make sure that they are not breaking anything. So they can't say they didn't know that if they modified a field or deleted it, that, you know, XYZ was going to stop working. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the actual customization record. So I'm going to click view here, and then what I can...
Valerie, question. Do you find customers use the ERD more than what you just showed, or is it equal? Does there seem to be a preference and reason why people might use the different ways to get to the same information?
That's a great question. What I would say to that from my experience is that it's been 50-50, honestly. Smaller companies who are doing their own development, I've noticed like the ERD, it's very visual, it's very clear to them. The impact search form, as I mentioned, you know, may be better for people who have more hands in the NetSuite pot, you know, to send that out to make sure that information is distributed amongst everybody who could potentially be changing anything in the system. And because this customization record that we've navigated to is available from both, people can easily get into the nitty-gritty of what's recorded on that customization.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so again, we're looking at the same body field that we saw from the ERD and from the impact search form. What I can quickly see at the top of this is the name of the record, who it was created by, the last time it was modified, the field type, the script ID. If a description has been entered on the custom object itself, Strongpoint displays that on the customization record, the internal ID, and again, those parent records. In the middle column, I have a link to quickly navigate to the custom object itself. So once I've looked at all the information in here and realized I am okay to go make a change on that field, I can navigate to it quickly by clicking on this link. The help, again, if there's field level help entered on your custom object, that will be displayed here. If you're referencing that field, if it's being used in an external system, you can go ahead and add that in here as well as the URL for reference. When you come back into this customization record, you can clearly see that you are using it with an external system. So I'm going to go into the sub-tabs down below. I may not go into each one in depth, but I will go through everything that contains the most pertinent information. So the metadata, this is where we can record the date the field was last used. Again, this is a demo account, so not use that frequently. So it's populated with the NetSuite default value of 1969. But I also have the data type, it's a list record, and that list that we saw in the customization impact search form. So now if I go over to my scripting tab, we saw when we looked at a script how much information is contained in there if this was a script we were looking at. However, since we're looking at a body field, what I can quickly navigate to or see are the two scripts relying on that body field. Under searches, this works the same way. So again, I have the two searches that have a dependency on that body field. And if I wanted to get a little bit more information on those searches, I can easily link to that customization record as well for the search. And then if I were to go to the searches tab on that, I again have a lot more information populated since it's an actual saved search that I'm looking at. So the record ID, the filters, if there were formulas, I would see them up here, and the fields within that search. So again, we try and make it as easy as possible for you to navigate between the information. On the Forms tab, this again works the same way as the scripting and the searches. I get a quick view of all the forms using it. And if I wanted to see the full list, I would just hover over the word more. And now I have a scroll tab to see just how extensively this field is being used on all these searches. Sorry, on all these forms. The process tab. Our change management module has evolved substantially over the last few months. This was a tab previously used to help with the change management module. However, this has now been rolled into change management, and so this will be a sunsetted feature. So I won't spend too much time on this one. The improvements tab. So this one works in conjunction with our change management module and our cleanup methodology, which Andrea mentioned will be covered in future webinars. This is a quick view of where we would keep the cleanup classification, and with the change management module, where you would be able to reference object-specific change level policies. So I won't spend too much time on this one. The notes workflow, and files, these are standard NetSuite tabs. So I'm going to skip over those. The messages tab, this works in conjunction with our flow agent module. And then we have our workflows tab. So this one works the same as the scripting, searches, forms. So it'll only show you information if the object you're viewing is a workflow. Otherwise, you'll see the list of workflow dependents, dependent on the object you are viewing. The next one is one of the tabs we call our Strongpoint working tabs. So this is for Strongpoint, normally for troubleshooting. Just a little bit of information what's on here. Again, you might never need to navigate here, but what you would see is the customization string that Strongpoint uses to identify the object in NetSuite. Over to the deployments tab. This one works again the same way as scripting and searches, forms, and workflows. Again, we'll only show you the information if the object we're viewing is a deployment or deployments relying on it. The roles tab also works in the same fashion. So because we're looking at a body field, this is not necessarily populated. As I scroll over to the right, my next one is our controls tab. And this one works in conjunction with our continuous audit and our SOD modules. So again, I won't spend too much time on this one. The test tab, I will attempt to explain this one. This one is what allows you to bring a test repository into NetSuite. So different customizations can be associated with a particular test script or template. If it is, you'll see the name here. And it's useful for release preview testing. Our raw data tab, this is the second tab we refer to as the Strongpoint working tab. So what it would show you, if I would scroll to the right spot on this, is the date the object was last spidered and the interdependencies were joined, and down below, the XML representation of the object in NetSuite. So again, mostly used for Strongpoint troubleshooting. The bundles tab. So this is giving you information if the object we were viewing is part of a bundle, as this one is. It shows me the bundle ID, and it shows me that it's a managed bundle and the name of the bundle. And our last two tabs, so the change log tab. So this is what we use to drive change management. So every time, sorry, a little bit of navigation, technical difficulties. Every time a change is made to a custom object in NetSuite and our spiders, the Strongpoint spiders have run, Strongpoint is creating a change log for those changes. And we associate that change log to the Strongpoint customization record under this tab. So you can easily see what the old values were, the new values, cutting off a little bit. I apologize. And again, if you were to click on these change logs themselves, you could go in there and get a whole lot more information. Again, this will be covered a little bit more in depth in one of the change management webinars. Last but not least, the related change log tab. So as we saw, this body field is dependent on quite a few, or is related to quite a few other objects. So if changes are made to the related record types, we're logging those changes here as well. So as you can see, those scripts that we looked at, So some of those searches, all the changes made to those as associated records are logged here. And that is the customization record, and hopefully some very useful information for all of you for what's contained on that record. And the last thing I'd like to show you guys is the Strongpoint SQL library. So using those customization records we've created, this is a complete list. So we refer to it as a reference point for usability. So it's a complete list of all the formulas used in saved searches within your account, whether they be in the criteria or the results. We've compiled those all in one place for you so that they're searchable. You can reuse any of the formulas that you have in the library without having to click through each one of your individual saved searches, trying to find the formula you used 4 months ago. So I will show you where that is. So to get to that, it's again, Strongpoint, and that's under Tools and Strongpoint SQL Library. So this is a view of what that looks like. Again, if any of those formulas have been used either in the criteria or the results, they have all been compiled here as an easy reference to search and reuse.
And Valerie, are they specific to the organization or are they specific to the individual user?
These are specific to the organization.
Okay, thank you.
So any saved searches. And so from my side of things, this is what I wanted to go through with you. So I will now pass it back over to Andrea, and we're here to answer any questions you might have.
So sort of asked a couple of questions along the way, and we've wrapped up the content that we wanted to walk everybody through today. This was meant to be a bit of a refresher. I don't know if anybody on the call is new in that they've not had the one-on-one training in the past, but either way, are there any further questions and or areas that we touched on that maybe you'd like us to drill down into a little bit further in the demo account, re-show anything and such? So here's one. It would be nice if the SQL library feature could be expanded to show formulas used in results in addition to filter formulas. So that's actually a good feature enhancement. Is there any way to address that currently, Valerie or Romana? So I'll just repeat it. It would be nice if the SQL library feature could be expanded to show formulas used in the results in addition to filter formulas.
So right now it shows both. If you have a formula that's used in the criteria or if you have a formula that's used in the results set, it will show up in the SQL library.
Do we know if we can demo that in our demo account? Can we show that? I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to.
Maybe, Romana, I might need your help to navigate to a results one if I can see it quickly, or if it's just showing me those formulas.
So it's just going to show you the formula, but we could go to any one of the searches just to see.
Am I going to the record or view?
You could go to the record and in a different tab. And you click on result.
That's a good example of it pulling the results.
Yep.
Formula.
I don't see any more questions at this point. Really appreciate everybody's time today. We've got the 3 more webinars and the fundamentals coming. Again, a bit of a refresher for those of you who want a refresher on certain parts of Strongpoint. And if you've got anybody net new in the organization who might benefit from having to attend the webinar, that'd be great too. So just forward over the link. And thank you everybody for your time. We know it's precious, so we really appreciate spending the last 30 minutes with you. Thank you.